Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
Beard? Yes. Carr is absent. Bergbauer?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Platt?
Yes. I get a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Black?
Yeah.
Beard?
Yes.
Bergbauer?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Yes.
Platt?
Motion carries. Now can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on March 12th, 2019?
Yes.
Give a second.
I'll second.
Beard?
Yes.
Bergbauer?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Platt?
Yes. Motion carries. All right, public comment. Sorry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all?
All right.
Spring is here, I think.
You think?
Couple pieces of paper in front of you, just briefly. The first one, the Snedeker Risk Management County Client Appreciation Day. Excuse me. As many of you know, we do a seminar in Peoria every fall. It's really tough for a lot of guys to get away, come all the way to Peoria for a couple of nights. Especially the southern and eastern side of the county, or excuse me, the state. It's a big drive. So we started a couple of years ago doing a one-night county client appreciation. Plus, we give a little mini seminar on who we are, what we do, how we do it. So I got this here in front of you. It's this year. It's going to be in Lawrenceville, Illinois, on Wednesday, May the 8th. Starts at 5 p.m. and we'll have dinner, and then you will have to listen to us just a little, but not a lot. We promise we won't bore you too much. So anyway, that invitation's there. Anybody, office holders, county board members, you're all invited. If you think you can make it, just RSVP either to myself or Kevin. The information's there on the bottom. The other thing that we left you is the Illinois County's Risk Management Trust seminars for the year. The topics and the dates. This is all free. It's all part of the package that you have with the ICRT. It's great information. You can look at that. Sheriff, the jail legal liability, jail legal update, jail health is one of the topics we're going to have. That's going to be in September. So, we will, anybody that's interested in any of that, it's there, and it's, like I said, it's free, no cost to y'all. Really good information. Lastly, I want to introduce someone to y'all. Some of you may know him, and some of you don't. Kevin, you've met. Kevin's been here before, but sitting back in the corner is Mr. Mike Snedeker. He is the founder of our company. Mike's been
He is from Havana.
He is from Havana, Illinois.
Cross the bear, Ron.
Mike has done this for how many years?
Well, I'm only 18, so we won't go into that.
Yeah, but I do know when I was county clerk in Jasper County 25 years ago, we started doing business with Jasper County with Mike because at this county board meeting, the county's getting a plaque for 25 years and a check $2,500 for participating in the ICRT for 25 years. So Mike's done this a long, long time. He has a great sense of what it takes to do a good job and do the right kind of business for y'all. He's taught Kevin and I, and we hope he has taught us well, and we hope that we do y'all a good job. So anyway, we'll be here. If I have any questions or anything from us, let us know. But please, if you can, try to come to some of this. We'll be talking later about our client conference in Cumberland. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is Mike gonna mention this, or are you gonna mention that?
UCCI, the Galena, is that the Galena, the Eagle Ridge Resort? Yep, that's in July every year. We don't have a lot to do, except we do like for our clients to go to the UCCI's meeting in Galena. It's really a nice place. Besides, the University of Illinois puts quite a bit of information out. There's different seminars that you get continuing education. If some of the office holders needs continuing education, you get some of that there. It's a beautiful place. The UCCI pays for most of it. United County Councils pays for most of it. Ron's been up, Luke's been up,
Kyle's been up.
Kyle's been up. And
Roy
it's-
was up once.
Yep, Rose up, so that's a really nice time in the middle of summer. It's a really nice place. Besides, you get to do some business, you can have some fun also. And you'll be hearing more about that, but if you think you can go, don't wait too long to reserve rooms. It fills up pretty quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Lewis, County Extension Director.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me this evening. I was wanting to come and give a few updates. As we're approaching the end of April, it'll be a year for me and my role as county director in extension. And so I wanted to come and talk with you about some of the things that we've got going on, some of the things that we're continuing, some of the changes that we're looking to make. Our SNAP Ed program has been working very closely in Cumberland County, and that is a new change for our SNAP Ed team to be coming into Cumberland. And we've been forming a lot of relationships with the food pantries here in Toledo as well as Neoga. We've started doing programming in the schools revolving around healthy eating for children. And we're working on having some what we call healthy food distributions. We promoted Mary Beth Massey as program coordinator this past fall, and she now is responsible for 5 counties, and she's been doing a lot of work here in Cumberland, so we're excited to see that. We're also working on partnerships with the YMCA, and ever since they started, even when they were building the building, we're in collaboration with them on some programs. And Sherry Bertram, our family life educator, has been doing some classes at the Village Hall in partnership with the health department. Right now they've got a take charge of your diabetes class going on, as well as the WITS fitness class, and that's been happening for 3 years now in the county. We are continuing to build the 4-H program, and we've got a 4-H'er and a leader here with us in Jalen tonight. I've got to tell you, our 4-H program here in Cumberland County, I have 5 counties, and it's really a unique, special thing. We have grown 4-H by 30% this past year, and so we are growing, and a lot of that is due to Jalen's work as well as our leaders. We have 32 leaders for 105 members, and so that shows that there's such a strong investment by the adults and the community to really ensure that these kids are headed down the right track, and so we appreciate that. We're definitely growing in the next year or two. I'm looking to make some staff hires, and I want one of those hires to be here in Toledo to hire an educator that's based upon consumer and economic development. It's something that I'm very interested in. And so as we continue to grow, that none of that would be possible without the county board's support and the support of the community here. And so Jalen has a 4-H'er that's actually here to speak. And we're excited to have her, and she's in the public speaking competition. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her. She's way more interesting than I am. So,
Okay, so I'm Jalen. What's your name? Go ahead.
Anna.
So we're here to talk tonight about Cumberland County 4-H. I have a handout. I'll kind of just pass around. You guys can pass around. I'm kind of highlighting what's going on.
That's last.
We've introduced a new county cloverbud group. This is ages 5 to 7. This group's just exploded. We have 8, 9 if you count a little sister. Members there, they do different things. Megan Grissom, or Megan Napier now, who was for the orchard. has taken that over. She's also the Clark County Ag in the Classroom instructor, so she does all kinds of amazing things. One time they made their own chocolate and ate it. We also have a new club that Emma's in, Muddy Creek. They have a Cloverbud group and a regular group. They're now our largest club with over 30 members combined. But like Dana said, we have 105 members this year. This is the first time since I've been here that we've topped 100. So seeing these changes, seeing these excitement, it's all kind of new. There's a couple of things I'd like to invite you to. Healthy Kids Day at the Y. We're going to be there talking about 4-H. The pie stand with the Masons on May 19th during the Spring Festival. Our general project show is July 11th. We've moved it to the evening. That way the public can come see the 4-H members' projects. Our kids put a lot of time and effort into other projects. And then the livestock fair is the 18th through the 23rd. So there's a lot of exciting events coming up that we offer. There's also going to be workshops. And I'm looking to do a spin club focusing on vocational careers coming up, from brick masons to pipe fitters to carpentry and everything in between this summer. So a new opportunity. So I'll let Emma speak now.
Hi, I'm Emma Light, and I'm 10 years old, and I'm a member of the Arrows and Ammo Cumberland County New 4-H Shooting Sports Club. I'm so excited about this new club. I can practice archery with friends. I can meet new people, get advice and tips from adults. Archery is a fun skill to learn and practice. We also get to see places where we can go outside the county, like Country Lawn, X-Men, Green Up Archery, and the Sportsman Club. The owners are very nice. Thank you for supporting Cumberland County 4-H.
So Emma talked about our shooting sports club. I forgot to mention, we started that up actually officially February 16th. We offer archery, pistol, and rifle. So they meet every other week at the municipality right now until we get nicer outside. So that has really boomed. We've seen a lot of increase come from that. So Emma's going to help me pass out some little favors tonight. So.
Thank you.
I wouldn't vote for me.
No, I made these cookies and I'm gonna apologize. Somebody got an ugly cookie because I spilled the icing on it, and I'm sorry whoever got the ugly cookie. So, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I tried. That's what matters. That's what matters in this. We tried.
No problem, just try it.
Yeah, we tried.
Ones taste just like the pretty ones.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next one, Mr. Hurd.
Well, I can't talk as fast as she did. We'll make an effort. When I look over my glasses, I can't see this and see you bring cookies. I didn't bring no cookies. I want to visit with you a little bit about the Ambrose Watershed Management Plan. I don't know how many of you might have remembered when the Ambrose River Management Association was in existence back started in '93, to be exact, and they wrote a plan, and this is their plan that they wrote. You guys, I got it at the office if you need to look at any of this stuff. Don't have many copies of it. But anyway, they wrote this plan, and at that time it was to address flooding. That's what their farmers' main concern was flooding of the Ambrose River and the bottom. So they geared this plan to this. So that was written in '96. We done that in 2011, and they had one considerable thicker. And that was geared to more general stuff. It's just full of pretty pictures and all that stuff that they put in that to make it wordy and make it look good. But it geared more point source and not point source pollution. So then they got that plan, and then the Ambrose Watershed Management Association was dissolved because they didn't have any more funding. When it was initially started, it had funding from Glenn Bouchard, Dick Durbin was all instrumental in getting funding. It all came through NRCS, Natural Resources Conservation Service, SDA, and that's where the funding came from. But as the time went on, that funding dried up, so it didn't have it anymore. Now, that's the history of that. Then, recently, the Clean Water Act came from US EPA. And what that, one of the things that was in that every state that had water draining into the Mississippi River had to come up with a nutrient loss reduction strategy to keep nitrates and phosphates out of the surface water from flowing into the Mississippi River, which added to the Gulf of Mexico hypoxia thing, if you've heard of that, where it's killing the fish and stuff because the nutrients get into the Gulf. Anyway, every state had to come up with this plan, and this is a plan that Illinois came up with. And what it said was that by the year 2025, we need to have a 15% reduction in nitrates. Nitrate, nitrogen going into the water, and a 25% reduction of phosphates getting into the water. So you guys should have copies of all this stuff. I doesn't go through it. So we got this plan, and U of I had hired a couple watershed coordinators. So they've got a gal, Jennifer Woodyard is her name. She works out of Effingham NRCS office. It's her job to try to come up with ways to promote this nutrient loss reduction strategy to help farmers in our cities and everything get in compliance with this, so they don't have to pay a fine or something years down the road, because they've done that out in Chesapeake Bay area. Farmers are actually, they have to have nutrient management plans, and if they don't follow them, they're actually fined by the area around there because they don't comply. So we want to try to keep people in compliance, and it not necessarily just ag, it can be cities that their sewer waste treatment plants are getting rid of more phosphates and nitrates than they're supposed to have. So that's point source. Ag land would be non-point source pollution from the phosphates and nitrates. So one of the ways that we can do that is to write grants, like 319 grants from Illinois EPA. They get $3 million or something each year from the feds into Illinois, and then people can write grants for that. Towns could write it. Individual farmers and groups of farmers could write 319 grants to cover crops, anything, update their, the cities can't do it to update their sewer stuff, but they can write other grants to help that. And everything seems like it's being watershed based. If you want money from some organization, they want a watershed plan tied to it, to the grant they apply for. So a bunch of us got together, and our coordinator said, we need to update this plan. It expires, and it was written in 11, it expires in 2021. So we thought, okay, this is already in place, let's just update it. But it costs money to update it, of course. And why is a new plan needed? Just as I was saying, that people be able to write grants, try to help solve this and meet these goals without being penalized for them. So anyway, what we need to do, I'm asking for you guys' support on this, and the Ambro, this plan covers it, the whole Ambro River watershed. That starts up on the University of Illinois campus, Champaign, and runs clear to Lawrenceville. It's a lot of acres, it's a lot of area, it's a big undertaking, but they got the plan, they can just update it. So really, we got a bid from a consulting group that was gonna help us update this, and you can see the figures on another page. This little sheet was prepared by Jennifer. If you look at that other page, and it boggles my mind why it costs so much money to update a plan. They're saying $172,500 to update this plan. However, Illinois EPA is kicking in 60%, so we have to have a 40% match. Farm Bureau has agreed, Illinois Farm Bureau has agreed to kick in $20,000 to $25,000. It says 20 on this sheet here. So, all the other counties, the rest of the counties come up with a $49,000 match. And they broke that down, the highlighted part here, where it says Cumberland, we need to come up with $6,319 based on how many acres we have in the watershed. We've got 12.9% of the area, the total watershed, so we came up with 12.9%. It's a little bit different than the top figure. The top figure included Vermilion and Effingham County, and they had such a minute amount, like 0.1%. It was going to be like they needed to raise $71, so and 51. So we took that money and divided it up amongst the other counties. So kinda asking for some support from the county, maybe the cities too, I'm not sure yet if we can meet the goal. The Soil and Water District is kicking in $2,000. I did have a private donation from a farmer business for $1,000, so we're still short $3,300 or something like that. So that's kinda, if any that you could put in would be appreciated. It's not, you could say, what's in it for us? Well, it's just the ability to be able to write grants. Anybody in a watershed, they can write grants to do different things, and there's a whole list of stuff that's covered under that. Stream bank stabilization, for example, if Ben here had a bridge that's in danger of washing out because of the creeks going around to try to get into it, well, that would qualify because it's stabilizing the stream bank, it's stopping erosion. Porous, there's driveways in, like if a city was gonna do a park, there's driveways in there that's porous, absorb the water. Anything you can do to, if they got a ditch in town that's washing, some stabilization there, any type of thing, like a whole bunch of stuff. I said, well, what if we don't get, what if nobody writes a grant here, you know, what if Champagne Gold gets all the money? Well, it might, you know, but still, anything they do upstream even is gonna make our water clearer and cleaner, because Green up Toledo, all of them get their water out of the river. And how that stuff gets into the wells, I don't know, it's a possibility, I suppose. But anyway, we're asking for you guys' support on this if you can, and we would appreciate it.
So you're saying that we need to get this money to get the updated,
Yeah, we're trying to write a grant to update the plan, and the plan will be good for another 10 years.
and cities or the municipalities, we can't call what we have in Cumberland County cities, but municipalities and or the farmers or you or someone else, if we don't have this, would not be able to access any money from the state probably.
Well, I'm not saying you can't, but you have a better chance of getting your grant application approved if it's tied to a watershed plan. And that's the whole key word anymore, is that watershed planning is the key word that's coming out of Washington. I think that's the best way to get the money. Now, this money, what we're asking for right now is a letter of commitment. Where was that? I got one in there. Got a copy of it. Just a letter of commitment on your letterhead and stuff that would be attached to the plan, so you're willing to give this much money in support of the plan. Now, the grant application is not due till August 1st. We'd like to have the commitment by June 15th if we could get everything, so we know where we're at. Don't need the money till January, February next year, so it'll be in next year's budget. Wouldn't be anything right now. And if we don't collect the money and we don't get enough to meet our match, it could be dead in the water and you don't have no plan. Just, you know, if we can't meet our match. They first wanted us as soil and water people to do the 40% match, and the guy that's putting it on said, well, that never works because you can't physically do what we need to be done. You know, you gotta walk the creeks and do stuff. They're picking out 2 major watersheds in the whole Ambra to do detailed study on to represent everything. And they wanted us to do that. I said, well, I'm too old to do that. But, you know, we'd be able to help them do something, you know, like landowner contacts. If they want to get on people's property, we would have the insight to make the connections there so they could have access to the property and stuff like that. So it's,
Do you have a figure in mind of what you might need from us?
well, I was kind of thinking 2,000. That's not what I was thinking.
That wouldn't get you all the way up there though.
Oh, no, that don't get us all. We'll have to dig around some more.
You said something about the cities.
I was gonna approach Green up in Toledo. I don't know, you know, if they interested or not. It's,
12% of the land in Cumberland County is in this watershed.
almost 12.9.
13% of the farm of the land of Cumberland County is in the watershed.
No, it'll be more than that, because the only thing that doesn't drain into the Ambro is just a little dab over, drains into the little wall back over by the Yoga, on Lake Mattoon. Cumberland County had 12.9% of the whole area of the whole Ambro River watershed.
Okay.
About 90% of Cumberland County drains into it.
90% of Cumberland County.
Yeah, I would say.
That's more like it.
So 2,000 for everybody in Cumberland County is what you're saying? to help everyone in Cumberland County possibly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we put in 2,000 for the soil and water district, and you know, if I can get the rest of it, that's fine. And I don't know what's gonna happen to other counties, maybe they won't raise it, I don't know.
Well, if they don't raise it, then we wouldn't be as,
If they don't raise it and the thing don't fly, then you're not obligated to pay anything. You know, I think it will. They're actually trying to get money from other organizations to, in case some of the counties can't make it. I know some of the soil and water districts don't have the money to put into it. They can do in-kind stuff, but I don't know how much that would have.
They want this nutrient loss, nutrient reduction by the year 2025.
Yeah, well, they want 15% reduction in nitrate and nitrogen, and that's not really a problem here. It's a problem more north, Mattoon north, because they do fall applied nitrogen. It's getting into the tile lines, and they just apply more nitrogen up there than we do. And that's just a farm base, but it also could be non-point, that's non-point pollution, like your ag land. Point source would be like what's coming out of your sewer plants. I guarantee you, there's been studies done, there's more chemicals and fertilizer go on golf courses and yards than there is ag land on a per capita basis. They just dump it on and
gotta keep it green.
and all that in town runs right into storm sewer and right out into the river. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, I don't know about the rest of them, but I have no problem with the 2,000.
It's, I mean, you don't have to decide not, you can,
I think we'll look it over and see what we can do. And
We
hope we
can't, we
get
can't
that.
act on it tonight anyway,
We'll look it
because it's
over.
not on the agenda.
We'd hopefully we could get something from some Green Fleet or little dab and meet our goal anyway, and then we'll be able to do other
we'll see if we can put it on next month or something.
counties,
Let
see
you know,
what.
we'll at least let you know what's going on.
I appreciate the time, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Ms. Martin,
Here we go. I got handouts for you guys. Make sure Ron gets his last.
Make sure Ron gets his last.
I want to thank you guys for allowing me to come to you on behalf of Toledo Ambulance. My name is Michael Martin, and if we haven't met, I am the coordinator of Toledo Ambulance. I am here to present to you the information that we've compiled for a request in increase for our tax revenues so that we can continue to provide our emergency ambulance service for Cottonwood, Sumter, and Woodbury townships. Currently, Toledo Ambulance services approximately 123 square miles and about 3,000 residents in our county with 24/7 coverage. We do average about 300 calls a year, with the majority of these being Medicare and Medicaid patients, which have set pay rates for ambulance reimbursement. Section 1 on your handouts does have that breakdown for you. Our fees are $500 for an ALS run, $380 for a BLS run, and $12 per mile. ALS is those where a paramedic is on board. Medicare reimbursement rates are $332.75 for an ALS run, $280.21 for a BLS run with an average of 8.7 a mile. Medicaid reimbursement rates are $187.32 for ALS, $107.64 for BLS, and $560 per mile. Oftentimes, private insurance companies also only pay out at Medicare rates depending on the patient's plan. These are actually coded on our remittance advices as exceeds Medicare rates, do not bill patient, which means that we have to accept that as payment in full. A decent percentage of our insurance holding patients also only allow us to collect based on those rates. That means that the remainders of those bills are actually written off and uncollectible. Average call mileage is 20 miles to Sarah Bush and 24 to St. Anthony's. We are currently coming up on the 3-year mark for full-time service versus our previous status as volunteer ambulance service, May 15th of 2016. As you may remember, the main purpose of making this change was to continue to be able to provide the highest level of care ambulance available, which is paramedic service, and maintain that 24/7 coverage. Several ambulance services already full-time have closed their doors due to the lack of staffing, everywhere from Vandalia, Fayette County, Altamont, and more recently, Duns. I understand that we are a completely separate entity from them. We are separate from even Greenup and Neoga. It would be comparing apples and oranges to look at the other services, but the point is that the issues facing Toledo Ambulance is not singular to Toledo Ambulance. The decision to offer full-time positions was not made lightly, and the largest factor to change was the lack of volunteers to maintain a volunteer service. We are coming to you for additional assistance in guaranteeing that Toledo Ambulance does not go the way of the other services. There is no guarantee that either Neoga or Greenup can run a second crew for their own responding areas on a 24/7 basis, let alone have an additional ambulance to cover the response area that Toledo covers in the event of our closing. Toledo Ambulance does offer mutual aid assistance covering overflow calls to both of the other ambulance services in our county. Not having a staffed ambulance in Toledo does not just affect Toledo. At our current cost of operations, even including our tax revenue, we are incurring a debt at a rate of $20,000 annually. In the event of our collapse, this debt would fall to the county to pay. Our current debt owed to First Neighbor Bank on our business loan is $44,799.22 with interest compounding. We also have a second loan through the bank for the purchase of a cot that was taken out when we were still volunteer that has a balance of $8,058.70. You can refer to section 2 on the handout for that information. We have stripped our budget to the absolute bare bones, and we do work diligently to stretch every penny we have. Our company no longer offers health insurance to employees except employee-paid short-term disability. We have no phone line or fax line in our office. We only maintain the mandated cell phone in the ambulance, and we use that as our office number also. We keep costs down on office and medical supplies by contacting other services for donations of supplies or unused equipment, and we do receive some donations of supplies. We are continuously keeping our eyes open for available grants to apply for. We've begun fundraising during Springfest and Freedom Day to attempt to increase our funding. The ambulance board members and employees alike do work together and understand the importance of the ambulance service for this community. Unfortunately, the cost of maintaining the service has risen tremendously since our inception in 1983, and yet we're still trying to maintain on the same tax rates that were initially put into place. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the amount of inflation since 1983 has risen 146.1%, and our tax base at 22 cents per hundred for the villages of only Toledo and Jewett, with everything else being based on 11 cents per hundred, has not raised since 1983. In the event of vehicle malfunction, we currently have no way of purchasing or even financing a new rig. Our current ambulance is a 2010 with 112,000 miles on it. We do have a reserve ambulance, it's a 2003 with about 145,000 miles on it. Keeping that in mind, a brand new ambulance, bare bones with nothing on it, no supplies or equipment, can run as much as $220,000. The employees of our ambulance service are paid on call salaried and are not paid based on minimum wage. Section 3 on the breakdown can show you that. An EMT basic is $28,200 a year for an average of 84 hours per week worked with no overtime pay. We do not do overtime. Paramedic pay is $35,000 with an average of 84 hours a week without overtime as well. As you know, minimum wage is increasing dramatically in the coming years, which means that the cost of living is also increasing. To offset this, we understand the need to increase wages for our employees as well in the coming years. We are barely able to maintain payroll for 4 people, working double the hours of the average full-time American employee at 40 hours a week with no overtime pay. In 2016, prior to making the switch to full-time, we did approach the county board regarding our concerns and needs, and initially we were granted a tax increase of 30 cents, or to 30 cents per hundred. That was in May of 16. Following that agreement, the county chose to rescind the increase, and we were made to stay status quo with the same tax levy that has been in place since 1983. I am here again to request a tax increase from the county. Based on our fiscal year 17-18, our collected income from runs was $114,627.41. Using that information to estimate the fiscal year 18-19 at $115,000, with expenditures at $216,150.40, in order to reach and maintain a balanced budget with no money set aside for future vehicle and equipment purchases, debt payment, or rainy day funds, we need an additional $101,150 annually. To be able to maintain our service in the future and including unforeseeable future spending, we would like to have a safety net and increase this figure to $120,000. This is only a surplus of $18,850 annually, but will allow us to pay off our current loan debts in 3 years' time and to offset expected increases of cost in all aspects of the business. If you'd like to follow on sections 4 and 5, you can see the total tax base by special service area. And you can, under that, you can see the, by increasing the special service areas all to the same rate and figuring in estimated tax revenue based on cents per hundred. The following applies based on what I've provided you at the 22 all the way down to 30, and then I skip to 44 for giggles. As you can see, to maintain balance and allow Toledo ambulance to survive and provide the life-saving emergency ambulance care and transport to our citizens, it is the position of the ambulance board to request an increase for all of our special service areas to 30 cents per hundred, the same as was initially approved at the 2016 rate. This is an increase of 8 cents per hundred on 2 of our special service areas and an increase of 19 cents per hundred for 1 of our special service areas. I do honestly appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you about this, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have.
So now you want all 3 of them? I thought you guys wanted just the one service area, that's 22. So now you want all 3 of them up to 30 cents?
After having done the math and considering in the rate at which we are incurring debt and our current debt, we will not be able to maintain at 22. 22 will still have us be in the hole, even if all 3 service areas are at 22.
And that's still way below what the same area that's being serviced by the fire department
Yes.
is. I can't remember what that is. 40? Is that why we put 44 on there? Okay, that's what the fire gets.
What's your tax rate now?
It is for which special service area?
Well, for 2 of them, it's one rate.
Yes, for the village of Toledo, within the village itself, and the square mile that is Jewett, it is
22.
It is 22, and everything else in Woodbury, Sumter, and Cottonwood is 11.
11. It's 11 and 22 now. You went everything to 22, that was one thought at first. Now you think it'll be up to about 34, 30.
30, yes.
Okay.
Does anyone remember why we reneged on the vote earlier on 30 cents? I can't remember that.
Well, it was a big, huge increase in there. We didn't think we weren't sure, that was been like 2 years ago, 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
something like that.
We weren't sure they needed that at the time. And they did some major changes, I think, in the ambulance there since then, I think. Village Chamber's been involved with that, I think.
We didn't know what their revenues were actually gonna be.
Yeah, we didn't know what to, yeah, we just need to see. And by needing to see, I can see why we can, well, I'm on the board, so I know why we need 30 cents on all.
So you want us to raise the tax levy on those certain, the county board has the power to raise the tax levy on those 3 different.
Well, we have to go through the hearing process, like we said last month, and
We're gonna write a letter, is that where we're gonna write the letter
We
for
have to.
everybody now?
we have to write a letter to everyone, have the tax levy hearing, and go that way before we can even raise the tax levy.
So the vote tonight would be just putting it up to the public for a
I
hearing.
think we did that last
There's no action.
meeting, but I think that we didn't know what the tax levy that we were going to ask for was at the public hearing.
That was the one we're gonna put till June, we can't do it till
Yeah.
next year.
Right, we were going to set the tax, we were going to do the hearing in June and set the tax levy for the following year, next year.
So that's an increase of $18,000, so, is that what it was?
No.
More?
It's going from 87,000 to 120.
It's going higher
Well,
than
it's
that.
more than that, but that's
37.
based on 22, and they're not all 22.
Oh. At 22, they'd be 180, they'd be 87,000.
No, the tax, where was
Yeah.
this year's tax rate?
What we got for 2017 and 2018, with it being the 22 cents for the 2 and 11 cents for 1, was $52,448.24.
Oh, 52,000 to, from 52,000, you want to go to 120,000.
You want to double it.
No more than that.
Repeat that, you said 52,000 is what you levied last year?
$52,448.24.
And how come it says here 39,000 in section 5 for levies of 2019?
No, that's our total area that we cover. That is what you would, what the total would be for the multiplying out. That's our total land area.
That's E and D.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you really stop and think about it, this is going to set affect 3 townships. We, as a board, have basically thrown away 230,000 this year, because last year we had the abatement, lowered our amount that we could get this year by 100,000. So we abated 100,000 last year, we abated 100,000, or we are not gaining 100,000 this year. We will not be able to gain 100,000 for every year from now on because of the abatement. And so, you know, we're talking a 30-cent tax rate for this group of people, and that's not even going to come up to the, $1 million in 8 years that the compounding of what we've done in the past 2 years have done to us. You know, at $1 million, we could have done this without any problem at all.
Yeah, but that was the entire county, right?
That's the entire county, yes.
This is this part of the county.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the difference. So,
There is a difference, but I was just bringing up,
Mike,
Bring it up.
Well, you see it as a waste in your comment, and I see it as a savings to the taxpayer.
a savings to the taxpayer, but a kick to the finances of Cumberland County. And 4 of you will have voted to bring the money of Cumberland County down by $1 million in 7 years.
I think 4 of us voted to keep that money, and the people of Cumberland County.
The two people that voted against that, one was a CPA and one was a school superintendent who knows the finances.
3 of
The
which
four
are-
that voted against it do not really know state finances.
Well, I can vouch for myself that I do know a little bit. I've ran
A little bit,
township
a
for
little bit,
22
yes.
years, and we're financially strong. And also I run my own business, which is probably something, well, I guess you are a farmer, so I guess you're Kansas City.
Mike, you come back here. I mean, we didn't mean to run you off.
I think if we're gonna give out,
I got
then
a
you have to
question.
call for Granite for Toledo.
I got a-
Well,
Have a seat in
yeah.
Luke's chair.
I got a question for
Yes,
you.
sir.
How long have you been coordinator?
The 29th of this month will be 1 year.
Do you feel like that the Toledo Ambulance Service is doing a fairly good job? Be running very well?
Absolutely.
Would Billy Chambers agree with you?
I'm right here.
Let her answer that.
I think she would. Okay.
And I told you before, we kept track of paper clips. I mean, we have it down to the penny.
Ron knows.
We did not realize on the 3 sections, and I'm just as guilty, we thought cottonwood was just cottonwood. No. It is the whole 3 areas except for the village of Toledo and the village of Jewett. Jewett-Toledo Road gets 11 stands. Should be 22, but it's 11. We did not realize that. And why they set it up like this, we don't know. Ron's the one that caught that.
Well, thanks for putting it on my shoulders then.
You're welcome.
At the last meeting, we just voted to table the issue.
That's right. We didn't vote on it.
Or we did it to a later month, I mean, we can do it until next year, so we just,
But in order to keep a good Toledo ambulance service, you do need a tax increase.
We do.
Okay. No more questions?
thank you. All right. That's what we have.
Can I do anything tonight?
No,
Okay.
we got that on the agenda, so.
So we've got time to do that in the near future, right?
Yep, all right. I will need a motion to approve the University of Illinois extension levy request for the next fiscal year. $48,530.89.
I'll make it.
Need a second? Yes. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to approve the liquor license for Dirt Cheap. Did fill it out correctly. We got Mr. Maroon, Brian and I met with Mr. Vickers and everything's filled out. And everything's good. So, she's got it right here.
I'll
So.
make the motion to approve the liquor license.
I'll second it.
Bergauer,
Yes.
Holcombrink,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Platt.
Yes, motion carried. All right. Now I need a motion to approve the resolution relating to the participation of elected officials in the Illinois Municipality Retirement Fund.
Are we at it now?
We have to do this every 2 years. It's just stating that positions are eligible to be members.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Holcombrink,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Bergauer,
Yes.
Platt.
Yes, motion carried. Now I need a motion to appoint Tom Webb to be the Southeastern Illinois Economic Development Authority. Said he wanted to do it, so.
I'll make the motion.
all right. Lloyd,
Second.
okay.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Bergauer,
Yes.
Holcombrink,
Yes.
Platt.
Yes, motion carried. Alright. Now I need a motion to reappoint Natalie Hall as a trustee on the Montrose Fire Protection District.
I'll make the motion.
Todd,
Second.
Beard,
Yes.
Bergauer,
Yes.
Holcombrink,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Platt.
yes, motion carried. Now let's discuss and take action on the camera, door systems for the jail. I talked to Mr. Steve about it, and I still wanted to, I talked to a couple people about opening up the bids and getting, let's see if we can get cheaper for, was you said it was 160, what? Roughly?
Yeah.
Let's see what we can get and see if anybody else wants to, so I give a motion to open up the bids for it.
Wait a minute, are we kicking it down the road some more because 2 months ago?
I wanna open up the bids,
Yeah,
so we get a bid
right,
in.
we're going to go ahead and not do anything for another 2 or 3 months?
I'm hoping to have a bid for next month.
Yeah, okay.
You're gonna put up for bids.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Bergauer,
Yes.
Holcombrink,
Yes.
Black,
No.
Beard,
Yes.
Platt.
Yes, motion carried. Discuss and take action on full-time courthouse security. Mr. Maroon and Mr. Brady came and asked us if you could get a full-time security there at the courthouse. It's paid through the, what'd you say, the courthouse security funds, so,
For a period of time.
for a period of time. Do you know what you wanna pay him or anything?
No, the judge and I were just discussing that just earlier. I want to discuss a little bit more maybe with the state's attorney and a couple of other people. Because it could be, I don't know if it could be a union issue also. That's one thing I want to discuss with the state's attorney.
Should we
Table it till that's that?
You need our approval to do this? County board's approval?
Well, the statute says the sheriff shall appoint court security as deemed by the county board, so the county board is involved in that process as well. I mean, the other thing to consider here is, this is what Steve and I were talking about earlier, there is a House bill pending. I'm no legislative expert, I'm not sure if it's going to pass, when it's going to pass, but there is a proposal to have a requirement that we have a metal detector, which we have, but that it be manned, the courthouse be manned, and that the courtroom also be manned at all times when court is in session. And this is basically what we've discussed. But, no, I don't think we need to wait. I mean, and that's up to you guys, if you want to know what the exact dollar amounts are going to be. But the reason why I mentioned it was for a period of time is because we're not sure how the there's a balance in the security fund, but the fines, costs, and fees collection has changed pretty dramatically, and is no longer a court security fund. And that money still comes to the county, but it's not actually going to be directly tied to court security, so we're not sure how the funding in the future is going to work. Now, the new bill that, as proposed, has some sort of funding mechanism in it, but until it's in place, I can't tell you. But there's what, 100,000 in court security right
I
now?
think it's like 150,000 roughly.
So it'd be a substantial period of employment before those funds are exhausted, if no new dedicated funds are put into a court security fund.
Do you know a range of pay? Do you give them like a range? Make them feel a little more comfortable, or?
It probably depend upon, first of all, the personnel who we get, whether they're trained or not trained.
Sure.
So that, I think that would make a difference, if they're a retired police officer versus a correctional officer. So I think there's a kind of a range of money there that I'd like to discuss, so.
What is your starting correctional salary?
I'm gonna say 30, 31, 32 roughly.
Annually, not an hour, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I think that's probably ballpark what you're.
Very, yeah. And then you got any kind of benefits, but it's gonna be a full-time employee.
So you're looking at a couple thousand, 20,000 for
Yeah.
But ballpark, roughly, you're looking at like a new hire corrections officer.
50,000 a year, probably. roughly.
You probably got enough in the fund now to do it for 2 years.
Yeah.
At least one guy. That doesn't count.
At 50,000, there's nothing funded at
For
3
three.
years. And that's if no new funds are added to it.
But that's just one person.
That's just one person.
Would
The
we be,
bailiff, that we had talked about, which is kind of mirroring the language in the statute, would be a part-time position as needed when court is in session, so it's hard to say.
would it be safe to say the full-time position would be about the same as what the new deputy that was hired would cost?
It'd be a little less than that.
A little less than that.
Mhm.
I think we have his salary in here now, so we can figure that out pretty quickly.
You need a motion or something?
Yeah, we want to take it, do you want to just go ahead and hire, or is that given authority to hire? Salary when we want, or?
And when it runs out, you can always,
Then what we do, can you quit the security position, or we'll address it at that time?
right.
Unless that House bill, unless they pass that House bill.
Yeah, at some point, it may be mandatory. Now, again, if it's mandated, and that could be an unfunded mandate, who knows, but
Probably will.
there will probably at least be partial funding. So.
We fund it, fines and fees.
They're probably funded if they should.
Right. But it may be something similar to, who knows, 75% match, or there may be dedicated based on the, a certain add-on fine. Yeah, it's just hard to say.
I'd give a motion to just let the or deem the sheriff in charge of hiring the courthouse full-time position.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Bauer?
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Black?
Yep.
Beard?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
And not to put it, to be something else to think about, because I'm not sure how this is going to work. If a bill is passed that mandates court security, I'm not sure how it's going to affect the annex building. Because technically, this is an annex of the courthouse. So it could mean that we have to have a metal detector here and security here as well. I don't know how that's going to play out.
Possibility.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Maybe back at your work.
Thank you,
All
Building
right.
Commission. Should just add it on the courthouse.
All right, next.
Do that. How can you do it
Well,
in
you stand there.
Have security.
As hard as you hit, I don't think you need a gun.
All
As hard
right.
as you hit.
Next one was just discuss and take action CAD system for jail. After talking to Mr. Maroon, He'd like us to table that, to get more information. So if I can get a motion to table the CAD system.
Take it.
Holcomb,
Yes.
Black?
What do we take?
Yes.
The CAD system. Take
That's
action.
not a motion, is it?
Yeah, taking a motion to
It says
table the,
discuss and take action, so.
yeah.
I thought they had a motion before we table it. A motion before you table it.
We made a motion to table the CAD system. You said to table the action on the CAD system. Go ahead.
So,
I'll say yes.
We're voting not to vote on it.
Yes.
Beard,
Yeah, I was jumping up and down.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Yes.
Gave up on you a long time ago.
You left me out there.
Hopefully, Mayor has to.
I was grinning. Got up there funny,
It's
but-
all you.
Before you go,
Yes.
what's this bake sale, baked goods from
We're
home?
coming to
Yeah, we're
that.
coming to it.
Okay.
Okay, so,
That's why I need your cookies.
I just wanted to let you know, we had the election, and the results was a 13.24% turnout. Very slow election this time.
It was terrible.
And want to point your attention to page 23 in your book. Want to let you know that IMRF was wanting that accelerated payment after Ozier's retirement. And I sent in documentation, and they have approved exempting that payment.
Very good.
So we don't have to do that.
Very good.
So, now I need a motion to approve the county clerk and tax redemption reports for March 2019.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Black?
Yeah.
Beard?
Yes.
Bergbauer?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes. Motion carried.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Joellen.
I just need a motion to approve the treasurer's report for March 2019.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Ron?
Beard?
Yes.
Bergbauer?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Black?
Yes. Motion. Anything else?
No.
All right, thank you. Lynn Bland,
Need a motion to approve the highway bills for March.
the amount of $6,758.27.
You can have that, Ron.
I'll make it.
Second.
Bergbauer?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Oh, I went you in the wrong order. No, Black?
Yeah.
Beard?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Next, I've got a setback variance request from a gentleman by the name of Brian Valley, who lives on at 1076 County Road 1300 North. It's on the Johnstown Road. He's constructing a machine shed addition, and it's off the limits of the right of way, but it's like within 2 foot of in the setback. I see no need to I think it needs to be approved with no site distance issues. I mean, he's off his right of way, but he's within the setback by, I think it was 2 feet. But there's no, normally on those, I look at the site distance, and there's no site distance issues, so I make the recommendation to approve this variance.
I'll make a motion.
Kyle?
I'll second it.
Floyd.
Okay, Bergbauer?
Yes.
Holcomb?
Yes.
Black?
Yeah.
Beard?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes. Motion carried. Anything else, Mr. Bland?
Getting ready to run, Hal Asphalt was the contractor on the 4 Mile Road project. We're gonna be starting it in soon, May 1st. We're gonna soil cement 4 Mile Road. And then place hot mix asphalt, over the back, and then all the way through 6th Street to US Route 45. And I anticipate probably through the month of May to do that work. The 4 Mile Road will be closed for 1 week to do the soil cement. And that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Sherry?
I have with me tonight our new environmentalist. She's a licensed environmental health practitioner, Julie Bishop. And she is going to tell you about the direct sale of baked goods from home kitchen operation ordinance that we would like to have the county adopt. And then when she finishes, Brian has a few more comments that we can even simplify this more. But I want her to tell you about the ordinance we're proposing.
Hi y'all, thanks for allowing me to speak tonight. In 2014, the state of Illinois passed the Home Kitchen Operation Act, it's also known as the Cupcake Law. This allows home bakers to continue to operate. As of right now, if we don't have an ordinance, they're not allowed to operate under health department rules. So this act is only valid in each county or each municipality if the local government adopts an ordinance to allow it. So we're asking you guys to allow us to adopt the ordinance to allow home-based foods. They would have to meet the conditions that are listed in Section B. And that's monthly gross sales do not exceed $1,000, non-potentially hazardous foods. They have to provide a notice to the purchaser that it's made in a home kitchen. The food package has to be labeled with the common or usual name of the food product and allergen labeling. It has to be sold directly to the consumer. The consumer would have to pick it up or they would have to deliver it. And then the food is stored in the residence where it's produced or packaged. Without this, we have 2 or 3 home bakeries in the county. We really don't want to shut them down if they've, never had any issues. With this, they would register with us. That would give us the right to go in and inspect if there is a foodborne illness reported. It would restrict some of the things they can make, but without an ordinance, we cannot make an ordinance to disallow it. But the health department would have to go in and tell them that they can no longer run their business if we don't have an ordinance to allow it.
This is just for businesses and not bake sales that,
No, this is just like a home baker. Say Sherry decided she wanted to make cookies as a side business and sell it. She would register with us, and as long as she doesn't have a foodborne illness, she would be allowed to operate, as long as she's meeting these conditions.
she'd have no problems. Have you ever tasted Sherry's cookies?
I have not. Is that a good thing that I have not?
You'd think she'd bring some to the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, but basically this is an ordinance just letting us allow someone to operate instead of for once telling someone they can't do something. This would allow people to actually do something to make a new business. Yes?
What's registration cost?
Nothing, it's free.
Hey Ron, just so you know, the statute specifically exempts from this statute.
Bake sales.
Bake sales, essentially.
Yes.
Religious, so just read from it, but yeah, nonprofit organizations, fundraising purposes, so you can still have your bake sales. You just can't sell it's mainly for people that do the birthday cakes or wedding
Right,
cakes.
exactly. Birthday cakes, cookies, those kind of things. The things that are not considered hazardous.
I'll make the motion.
And before you get too far ahead of yourself, what I was talking to Sherry, and I didn't get a chance to talk to Julie about this, but the way the statute reads, essentially, the statute, our ordinance mirrors the statute word for word in most everything. What I told Sherry was really, and Julie said this, was that in order for these rules to apply in the state statute, the county has to allow a home kitchen. So what I suggested was essentially this portion right up here. It just says we're going to allow home kitchen operations and subject them to this statute is all we need. Doing the definitions that essentially just mirror the statute. I said, I don't think that's a real good idea because if the statute changes and we don't change our ordinance, we could have conflicting definitions or requirements. So what I would recommend we do is take out Section A, which just again mirrors the definitions that are in the statute. Section B, which again just mirrors the statute. I think when you leave in Section C, that requires them to register, and then Section D really just, all that does is just says that the health department can request that they shut down. I think actually that's been marked out. But essentially, you don't need an ordinance for the health department to do the inspections. That's actually in the state statute. And essentially what he said is if you don't do what we ask you to, we'll just go to the court and get an order, which you don't need an ordinance setting that out. So I just suggested we leave that
So
out.
A and B would be Xed out,
A, B, and D would be Xed out.
A, B, and D would be Xed out. And then C would become A, I guess.
C would just become the second paragraph.
Yeah, just a second paragraph.
That would be my recommendations.
Still making the motion, Brad?
Yeah, I still make the motion, except we'll have
I can't.
A, B, D out, and C would be the second paragraph.
I can't believe the state of Illinois would change anything.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Birdbauer.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Rhonda's not here, so she wasn't going to be. Mackie said Mackenzie's gone. Steve Maroon.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Brian Robbins.
No,
Judge Braden.
Nothing.
Steve Sherwood.
I'd like a motion to add a line item to my budget for $5,000 for Code Red. Code Red essentially is replacing the sirens, and we no longer are repairing sirens that break down. You know, this isn't, we talked about it last month.
Need the motion for that?
Yep.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Black,
Yeah.
Beard,
Yes.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
That's all I got. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
need to, maybe have the paper put in there that people need to contact the county with their phone numbers and so they can be added to those.
Absolutely. We've got some new flyers that they just sent us, and I talked to Billy and Misty, and we'll get those in the paper and put them on Facebook, get the.
Especially the ones with cell phones needed.
The one thing that I think was kind of cloudy before is every landline-based phone in the county is covered already. It's the cellular phones that people voluntarily have to give the number to, because the private companies, because of the FCC, private companies can't release that. I see a future where that's gonna happen, but as of right now, the cellular companies can't voluntarily release those numbers. So it's up to the owner of the phone to release the number to us. And that's it. It made it sound like we didn't have any numbers, but we have every landline-based number in the county.
Have you got very many cell phone numbers? Very many?
We've got a pretty good database going. I mean, it could be better, you know, and people change phones all the time, you know. There are certainly instances where it could be better, but that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Donna.
Yes, I'd like a motion to reappoint the officers to the ETSB board.
That's Scott Bland to chair,
Yes.
chairman, Steve Layton vice chairman, and Shirley Sherwood secretary.
Yes.
I'll make it.
Second.
I'll second
Beard,
Yes.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Holcomb.
it. Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
I'd also like to make a motion to reappoint Ron Black for a 2-year term to the ETSB board.
Just me reappointing, so reappointed.
That's been how many years? That's been 2 years we've been on there, right? 4, I think. 4 years, yeah, you've been on quite a while. I can make that motion.
I'll second.
Birdbauer,
Yes.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Black,
Abstain.
Beard,
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Mark Howard. All right. I need a motion to ratify the payment of manual invoices in the amount of $20,815.01.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
George Bauer?
Yes.
Wolfenberg?
Yes.
Black?
Yeah.
Beard?
Yeah.
Yes. Motion carried. Get a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $51,529.99.
I'll second it.
Wolfenberg?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Beard?
Something's fine.
George Bauer?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to approve payroll number 6 in the amount of $76,192.18.
How many cents? Mine says 17. Oh, there's another penny on the bottom, rounded. You're right.
Second.
Either that or my daughter, I would get on my bed and told me.
Black?
Yeah.
Beard?
Yes.
George Bauer?
Yes.
Wolfenberg?
Yes.
Black?
Yes. Motion carried. Can I get a motion to approve payroll number 7 in the amount of $76,848.27?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Beard?
Yes.
George Bauer?
Yes.
Wolfenberg?
Yes.
Black?
Yeah.
Black?
Yes. Motion carried. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
I guess you're the second oldest, aren't you?
Okay, George Bauer?
Yes.
Wolfenberg?
Yes.
Black? Beard?
Good, good.
We're calling y'all stupid, yeah. I do this, but I've been calling you.
Joel over at the campground hall, and where are my campers at? I had to put mine in, but all 3 other campers. So he'll call me like, well, his phone call was yesterday afternoon. Hey, we gotta have that in by Wednesday. Yeah, Thursday is gonna be my work day.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Steve.
Was this thing on?
Sometimes